What we're going to do in this module is present a couple of examples of measuring returns. Both of these examples are going to use Microsoft Excel and the spreadsheet that you could download or can download from the Compass website. So we're going to divide this module up into 4 steps. First is calculate total returns from farmland. This again will come from that Excel spreadsheet. Then we're going to use the Microsoft data and we're going to do 3 things. First, we're going to download it from the Yahoo Finance website. We're going to define adjusted closing price, something that we're going to use with the Microsoft data. And 4, we're going to calculate returns using the adjusted closing price, which is something relatively simple and straightforward. Here is the screenshot of Week 1 measuring returns. Again, this is the spreadsheet that is available for download from our website. And we are on the Farmland sheet or tab here. So we want to be on Farmland. And here is the data that we have here. Right here. We have yearly data on farmland returns. This happens to be USDA data and it's for Illinois. So we're looking at Illinois farmland returns. We have here a cash rent. So this cash rent is an estimate of the amount paid for farmland or for renting the farmland. So if an owner had the land, and often owners don't farm the land while still owning it, they will receive cash rent from their farmer tenants. So this is that cash rent payment. This would be our current return. We also have land prices here, and those land prices are estimated at the beginning of the year. So this $490 land price is estimated as of the beginning of 1970. This land price, $491, is estimated as the beginning of 1971 or the end of 1970, whichever you prefer. And this cash rent or the current return is $36. Over here, we're going to calculate or have calculated the current return, capital gain, and total return. We also then calculate the percent total return. And if you need those definitions, go back to our previous module and you can see the definitions of cash return, capital gain, and total return. I'm going to erase these columns now and just do those calculations. Hopefully that'll help you cement in your mind what we're doing here. And I'm going to put a screen in here so that we can see to the bottom. Okay, we're continuing this example on the next slide, but what I've just just done is split the screen. We now have this data from 1970 to 2013. This, by the way, I do quite a bit of work in farmland prices, and this is a usual data set that often is used for the state as a whole. There's a lot of variability, obviously, within the state. Or maybe not so obviously, but there is a lot of variability in returns and farmland prices across the state, with more productive land having higher cash rent and higher land prices. For each year, we want to calculate a capital return, capital gain, and total return. Here, our cash return is our cash rent. Our capital gain is the change in prices. And here, perhaps, the only thing that you have to really consider is the definition of when these cash flows occur. The land price is giving it at the beginning of the year. The cash rent occurs during the year. So this is correct. Sometimes you'll see some people do it where this would be the current return for 1971, and it all depends on the definitions. But we have cash return, capital gain, and our total return here is the sum of those two. So in this year we had cash return of $36, capital gain of $1, total return of $37. take the $37 return and divide it by the price during the period, and we have an 8% return during that period. Alright, we did those for one year. I'm going to highlight this, then I'm going to copy, and paste, and now we've created it. One thing I'm going to do here is 2013. We're going to just delete that row, and we're done. So we've calculated the capital gains, cash returns, and total returns for Farmland. You could save this now, and we would have completed our task. I want to give you a little intuition of returns here, which will come back later, but I'm going to graph the land price series. Here's what's happened to farmland prices in Illinois, as well as most of the other places around the world as well, or around the nation, actually around the world. Put some dates on here. As you can see here, farmland prices have really increased quite a lot. 2012 they were close to $8,000 an acre for a statewide average. We sort of had a big increase here in the late 70s, early 80s, then a decline. That is some concern today, and since that point in time we've had a sharp increase in farmland prices, particularly in the late 2000s. Roughly beginning at 2006 we've had $3,000–$4,000 added to farmland price. So we've seen some pretty good capital gains and land price increases over this time period. Let me also put in here a graph of percent total return. And here's percent total return, and you can see here again we've had pretty positive returns here, one close to negative return here. One of the items to note about this return series is that it's going to be time dependent. There is a period when we had falling returns and falling total returns, and a period that didn't occur. That is going to become important later, and we'll discuss that in next week's chapters. Now I want to switch to the Microsoft example here. Here is the completed Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. And what we have here, and I've split the screen again, we have data in here from March 13th, 1986 up to the present, August 26, 2013. Every trading day, we have the open for that day, high for that day, low for that day, close for the day, volume, and the adjusted close. From this adjusted close, we're going to calculate this return here, and this is the total return. And I'll explain how we calculate the total return. But first, I want to describe the process for getting the data. We are going to get this data from Yahoo Finance, and I am going to start here. I'm just going to Google Yahoo Finance. And here is the Yahoo Finance data page, and the web address is finance.yahoo.com. So here's our web page, and it's loading right now, and it's going to take a little bit because I have a slow modem today. But what we're going to do here is we're getting closer and closer to this thing being loaded. The reason why we're loading, here we have the Microsoft Corporation quote, and I guess I keep track of that, minus 2.6%. We're going to search finance. I want to get Microsoft data. As part of the homework, you'll get Exxon data. You can either type in the corporation name, or if you know its ticker symbol, we could go MSFT here as well. So let's just do that. You could put the name here or the ticker symbol. Search finance. There it is. We have Microsoft Corporation 33.26. It's down 8.89. Here's the trading for the day. Well, I want to demonstrate to you how to get the historical prices for this. Come over here just to hit historical prices. And you will see a list here of the historical prices. Here, this data range starts March 13, 1986, the first day of trading. It ends now, August 28th. I'm recording this, I'm recording it on August 27th, so I don't know why they're saying August 28th. Last date here is August 27th. We want to get daily data, but you could get weekly data, monthly data, and dividends as well. Daily data, and you type get prices. We've already got the prices. Here's the adjusted close. They had a dividend on August 13th, 2013. Come down to the bottom and click Download to Spreadsheet. My browser puts the Download to Spreadsheet here, and now you have the data in a spreadsheet. Here is that data. So we have the date, the open, high, low, close, volume, adjusted close. It's been downloaded into a spreadsheet. The one last thing that I want to do is sort this data. It begins on August 27th. I want to just put it in reverse order, earliest at top. Just do a data sort. I want to sort by the date column, oldest to newest. You're done. And I just, for good measure, inserted a couple columns here. And you have the data that is on that sheet. We are going to calculate the returns used to the adjusted closing price. And the adjusted closing price is a standard way of restating the return series, or the price series, the closing price series, so that you can easily calculate the returns from the from that series. We can also use it in the calculation of geometric means. Here we have the adjusted closing price. You can see the formula here. Adjusted closing price, AV, ending closing price minus beginning closing price divided by AV. That will give us our total return. This will include both capital gains. You can restate that as ending divided by beginning return divided minus 1. The adjusted close is there's standards for calculating the adjusted close. I included here on this slide a brief description from the Yahoo Finance website. If you want to see the whole thing, just type in adjusted close, Yahoo Finance, and the screen will come up. Here's a definition of the adjusted close, but basically it adjusts for stock splits and several other things. Here you see the explanation. There's also a dividends multiplier, so it accounts for dividends and stock prices as well as other corporate activities. We're back here to our website. Here again we're back here to our Microsoft Excel sheet. We have the adjusted close here, and I am going to calculate total return here. I've done it in this column. Let me erase this and just do it again. I'm going to use the formula on the previous slide. Adjusted close from end of period minus the adjusted close at the beginning of period minus 1. Let me give some decimal places here, and then copy that down. Oops. We've just calculated the return series using the adjusted close. Let me just graph this to show you what that looks like. Here's what that looks like. You can see it looks pretty, well, we got a lot of data there. Alright, we've shown here two examples of calculating returns, one for Farmland, one for Microsoft stock using the adjusted close. You'll use these exact same methods here for the adjusted close in Microsoft. Download the data for the Exxon Corporation as part of question 3 on the practice homework. This now concludes this module on calculating returns.